Hi, my name is Guse, and I'm an alcoholic. Today I want to talk about being sorry. I hate being sorry. I hate saying I'm sorry. It's pointless. It doesn't mean anything. There's that thing we do when we're kids. You'll do something and then you say I'm sorry. And then you do it again and you say I'm sorry. And then you do it again and you say I'm sorry, right? And what is it that our parents always tell us? Right? Don't do it again. Don't do it again. And maybe it's because we're so young, we can't recognize it. As an alcoholic, that's the root of all our evils. How many times have you done something while you were drunk and found yourself apologizing for it the next day or a few days later? I can't speak for anyone else. I could speak for myself, and I could tell you that the amount of times I've had to say I'm sorry, apologize for my actions or for what I've said, it's just so much that at a certain point it loses its value, right? Like, to me, I'm sorry means nothing. In fact, when people tell me I'm sorry, it doesn't mean anything to me, because I know that all those years where I spent apologizing probably didn't even mean anything. I'm sorry is such a shit phrase. If someone has something tragic happen to them, I think that's a good time to say I'm sorry. I'm not trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. You understand? It's not that it doesn't have a place in the vernacular, right? It's not like it doesn't fit somehow into day-to-day life. No, yeah, there's plenty of reasons to feel sorry for someone and to say sorry. But when you do something wrong and all you have to offer is I'm sorry, there's no, like, what does that do for anyone? What does that do for anything? What does that do as far as progressing and making sure it doesn't happen again? Kind of like what our parents used to tell us, don't do it again. And what happens when you do it again and again and again, and all you have to show for it is I'm sorry, but then on top of that, you're not a kid anymore, right? You're a grown-ass adult. To me, I'm sorry doesn't really mean much. I don't think it's ever meant much. I can remember instances when I was younger and I was dating that I was unfaithful. And I could remember saying I'm sorry. Now, I don't fuck around with that shit anymore because I've grown, I've matured, I understand, and I respect what I have. I appreciate the people in my life a lot more than what I used to, I could tell you that for sure. But I could also tell you of times where I've come home off my ass, waking up in the morning and looking outside of my window to see if my car was there because I don't remember driving home. That shit sucks. That shit's terrifying. And then having to hear stories about yourself. Dude, you went crazy last night. What do you mean? I don't remember that. Oh shit, of course you don't remember that. But dude, you told so-and-so that they're this, and then after that, your girl called and you told her like this and like that and that, or maybe the issue has been with your girl. You know how many times in my present day relationship I've done shit drunk, and it's always been losing my temper. It's always been losing my patience. Always. And it sucks because I feel bad for having to put my girl through that shit, but I'm also so blessed that she's had the patience to put up with my shit, to forgive me and place faith in me to change and do better. But that's the part, right? It's the do better part. That's the part we tend to miss out or leave out. Being sober is, I would say, 10% helping others, maybe 20% gathering new tools to use for yourself. But a lot of it, 70% I would say, maybe even more, is learning how to face your own bullshit. Learning how to be honest with yourself. I went to we do a birthday night last Friday of every month, in which at 7:30, I think it is, they gather and they give out medallions for everyone who's reached a year. And this year, or the one I went to was actually, I think it was in December, there was an individual who had somebody else's medallion, and so he was like, oh, so-and-so gave me this, told me that when I reached my year to give it back to them. And, I got there. And that same individual who got back his medallion, as I'm walking out, because, okay, let me back up a little bit. The first day I went into AA, I don't think I've talked about this. The first day I went into AA, it was on a Monday. And I just wanted some information so that I can go on Friday. And I happened to walk in on it was like the end, because at the end of AA, people gather around and talk a little bit. Some people leave, some people stick around and chat. And I'm walking in, and I guess it was just after the women's meeting. There's a lady there. I don't know if, I'd ask her if she's okay with me sharing her name out there, but wonderful lady there who walks up to me, and I don't know, she must have seen it. She must have seen it on my face. Now, I thought my face was just kind of normal. I don't think I had any kind of like pain hidden on it or anything like that. But it's like she saw right through me. And she walked up to me and she's like, "Hi there, how are you?" You know, she introduces herself, or she asked me like, you know, like, "Oh, are you here for AA and this and that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just wanted some information, and, you know, I was thinking about coming on Friday." And I promise you that, like, her way of talking to me, you know, the way she was, like, very comforting and open, it was a warm embrace. That's the best way I could put it. It was a warm embrace. It was, "I'm so glad you're here." She asked me, "Did you have a drink today?" I was like, "No, I haven't had a drink since Tuesday," or something like that. And she was like, "Good, don't drink again, come tonight." And I was like, "I don't know about tonight. I kind of had my day planned. You know, I was thinking about coming Friday." And she was like, No, you should come tonight. I really recommend you come tonight. You should come tonight." So I'm like, okay, I'll think about it, da da da. But in the way that she walked up to me and the way she was approaching me, I promise you, I got teary-eyed. I don't think I'll ever forget that moment. I don't think I'll ever forget that moment. And so she went up because I think she got a medallion because she's on her, you know, 20-something, 30-something year, right? And she mentioned me in the story. And I was like, damn, that's awesome. Like, it felt really nice. It felt really nice because as much as her presence had an effect on me walking in through the door and deciding to come that very same night had an effect on her. One of the things that happens in AA is that we, especially as a newcomer, and I can only speak as a newcomer, you know what I'm saying? Fucking decade or two from now, I'll be able to speak as someone who's been in the program for a while. But as a newcomer, what I see is like, it doesn't matter if people are talking about this or that or whatever the case is. Like, when you share, and when you talk about stuff, just being there to begin with, it helps all the older folks, all the vets in AA. You know, the people with 20 plus, 30 plus years. They need you just as much as you need them. And trust me, if you're an alcoholic, you fucking need them. Like, this isn't like a matter of I can do it on my own. You can't. If you can't just stop at 1 or 2 drinks every time. If when you drink, you're chasing the buzz. If you're chasing how you feel physically and this and that. If you're drinking every weekend, things along these lines, guys, are pretty much what, you know, and we'll be addressing the big book a certain time in the future, I don't know when, but it says it in there, you know, like there's certain signs and you could be able to tell. It's like, once you get through the first, I think they recommended the first 161 pages. And if you think you suffer with alcoholism, if you think that you're an alcoholic, trust me that when you read those first 161 pages, you'll be able to identify the shit that you can relate to. It's not that difficult. You don't need to go Google that shit. It's in the big book. And so she addresses me, she points me out in the room. She's like, you know, and I want to talk about, you know, she doesn't say Goose because, you know, I use my regular name with them, right? But she's like, you know, Goose and this and that, and I'm so glad he's still in the program. And at that point, I was 2 months sober. Right now, I'm 82 days. I'm 82 days sober. I'm about to get, what is it? My red chip? I think I'm about to get my red chip. It felt great, and being 82 days in feels great. She points me out. As we're walking out, the guy who got his medallion back from the other guy, we're walking out, and he's like, and I'm talking to my sponsor, and I'm like, yeah, this and that, you know, just chatting on the way out, just, you know, kind of like checking in and things like that. And this dude walks up to me and he gives me the fucking medallion. He gives me the medallion. And what this all leads to is what's printed on this medallion. There's 2 things printed on this medallion. On the back, it has the Serenity Prayer, which to me, as far as I've been there, I mean, I don't really, there's like about like 3 prayers in total, one being like, I'm not even get into it because I don't know them yet really. But I love the Serenity Prayer. But on the other side of this token, the motto, it's the motto of AA, and is to thine own self be true. That's hard. That's hard. You can be sorry all you want, but are you being honest to yourself about your actions, about the things you say, about how much of a dickhead you are? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I know I wasn't. In fact, every time I hear someone tell a story, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, and every alcoholic struggles with similar problems, right? And one of those problems is, a lack of self-accountability. Not being able to recognize when you're being the asshole, not them. One of the things I'm learning to do is keep my mouth shut. I fucking hate that shit, dude. I hate keeping my mouth shut. Dude, I'll stream for like fucking 12 hours. Maybe have 2 people come in and chat those whole 12 hours and be talking the whole 12 hours. And maybe those people only drop in for like, let's just say 2 hours and the other one drops in for half an hour. Dude, I'll be chatting the whole time. I love talking. I love using my voice. I love expressing my thoughts. Even before I started doing all that content stuff, I would just talk to myself. Just as a way of thinking, because thinking in my own head gets kind of fuzzied up and there's too many thoughts going at once, and my thoughts jump from this to that in a matter of milliseconds and goes to the next one and the next one. It works pretty great when I'm on stream and no one's really talking, because I can do all the talking. There's no problem with it. But it doesn't work great when I've had a few too many and my girl says something that I find offensive. She might be trying to be funny, but I'm offended. That's when all that talking fucks me up. That's when I haven't in the past practiced keeping my damn mouth shut. It's not bad and it's not wrong to hold someone accountable. It's not wrong to be honest. And there's a difference between rigorous honesty and brutal honesty. And one of the things that the big book tells us is that rigorous honesty is something that you have to do. You have to be rigorously honest. It doesn't mean that you shoot down somebody's feelings. It doesn't mean that you try to hurt. The intention behind the action is very important. Now, at the end of the day, if you fucked up, you fucked up, right? Like, there is still something there. But whether your intent is to help or to hurt does make a difference on how you present the situation. And there's been a lot of situations where my girl has said something and I've gone off the fucking roof. And just fucking, well, you're this. Or, well, yeah, but you do that. What the fuck is that? That's what children do. But he said this first. Well, no, but he pushed me first. So you punched him in the face? That's how you're gonna handle things your whole life? Because I'll tell you right now, bro, you're always the biggest and the baddest until you find the biggest and the baddest. And that's a fucking pyramid that never ends. Because the moment you recognize you're at the top of that pyramid, guess what? Next generation's already coming in. And the next biggest badass can whoop your ass. So guess what, bro? That's a never-ending fight, and you're never gonna be the baddest motherfucker on earth. So what are you doing? Are you competing to be an asshole? Do you like to hurt people? I don't. And the very last time, now don't get me wrong, this wasn't the very last time me and my girl got into an argument. Bro, that shit is never gonna end, all right? We have beautiful periods where it's like, there's no issue, there's no drama, it's all love. She's getting what she needs to get done, I'm getting what I need to get done. We're staying out of each other's hair, and then we're coming together when we need to or where we want to, and everything's great, fucking sun is shining, rainbows, unicorns, flowers, all that bullshit, right? But there's times where like, that shit gets rough. And that's never gonna stop, because like, there's people who've been together for years, decades, and they still go through shit, right? At a certain point, you kind of pan off and level off once you're old enough. I see it with my parents. At a certain point, like, it's like, whatever. And they don't pick at the things. They're no longer at that point of trying to see if the other person can change or develop a new habit. Like, they've kind of just cemented. I don't ever want to cement. I don't ever want to harden to the point where I'm unmalleable. I want to always be able to change. And I'm okay not being the same person I was years ago. I'm okay if someone from my past comes up and says, wow, dude, you changed. To me, that's a fucking compliment. Like, I don't know how anyone else sees it, but I'll tell you right now that by my standards, looking at my former self, this version's a lot better. This version's a lot better. That younger version might have been a little bit more fit, all right? Might have had, handsome little face and all that bullshit, right? But dude, I'm telling you right now, this is the best Goose that exists. Right now. And tomorrow, that's gonna be even better Goose. And a year from now, holy shit, dude. Times 365. Because I know myself. And I'm still getting to know myself. So don't get it twisted, right? I'm still getting to know myself. But I know enough to say that I don't think I'm ever gonna try to stop growing. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna spend the rest of my life fucking, what can I do better? How can I be better? How can I keep climbing that ladder of my own standards? How can I keep surpassing what I thought was possible or what I thought I was capable of? But you know how that starts? By not fucking saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry doesn't mean shit. Saying I'm sorry is the equivalent of saying, yeah, all right, or saying, yeah, go fuck yourself. You might as well be. You might as well be, because it doesn't mean shit. You know what does mean something? Not doing it again. Changing your behavior. One of the things, like I said, I was learning to do is just keep my fucking mouth shut. That doesn't mean that if there's some actual issue, and I'm gonna use the example of my relationship because it's the easiest one, or rather my relationship with my girl. When there's something that she's doing that I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, don't get me wrong, it irks me, so part of me is like, fucking stop doing that shit. But then the other part of me is like, yeah, okay, but is this something she's doing because I'm being a dickhead? And you see, now there comes that inner reflection, right? Now comes that period of looking at myself and saying, yo, am I doing something wrong? What can I change? See, because before, while I was drinking, every time I would ask myself, did I do something wrong? You would be fucking amazed. Wouldn't you be surprised that I never did anything wrong? I was always right. I don't know why her feelings are hurt. I don't know why she got upset. I didn't do anything. I was just being honest. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just being funny. I didn't do anything wrong. She's just on her period. What? Then how do you explain the I don't even know which knuckle. How do you explain the banged up knuckle? How do you explain that mirror that you had to replace? How do you explain the fact that you have a new pair of glasses because your old pair of glasses, you flung them across the room? How do you explain that beautiful orchid Lego set that you two built together has pieces missing to it? Oh, because you were right? Goosey, you were right. You did nothing wrong. What the fuck? Every time one of these big incidents occurred, I found myself feeling justified in the moment and regretting it later. Not even being able to actually remember what set the whole chain of events off. And I found myself saying I'm sorry. Similar to what I've done in the past with, in past relationships, with my mother, with my friends, with people who I made, probably, people I just knew from like work, all these different individuals in my life who I've said I'm sorry to. And I found myself saying I'm sorry again. And I know it doesn't mean shit, because it wasn't just one time. It wasn't just one time with my girl in which I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. Look, listen, I hope you can forgive me. I'm going to work towards not letting that happen again. How am I working towards not letting that happen again? And then I do it again and again and again. You see how that's pretty ass backwards, right? Like, it's not just me. It got to a point where last year, 2023, we were supposed to spend Thanksgiving together. We didn't, because I don't remember. That's the thing, right? I don't really remember what the root of it was. I remember walking away feeling justified. I remember thinking to myself, well, if I think about it, I didn't do anything wrong, And it wasn't until that next day where I woke up hungover, or not even necessarily hungover, but like I had a bit of a headache. I was probably dehydrated. And I was thinking to myself, did I do anything wrong? And I was still trying to convince myself that I hadn't done anything wrong. Like, really just putting forth a genuine effort to come out on top, not realizing that I was doing everything I could to stay on the bottom. And then I recognized, and this wasn't the next day, this was like 2 days later, 3 days later, I'm like, I fucked up. Even if part of what I said was true, even if all of it was true, which I don't remember most of what I said. I said some pretty fucking stabby shit. At that moment, I was recognizing it didn't matter. The worst time to address somebody's faults, the worst time to tell somebody how they could be better, is when you're deep in it, when you're deep into an argument, when you're deep into disagreement. That is no time to be pointing out character flaws. That is no time to be pointing out character flaws. When you're in that deep, forget about it. When she's calling you shit and you're calling her shit, that's not the point. That's not the point in time where you try to build character. That's when you demonstrate character. And I didn't recognize that. It was 3 days later, that, after having thought about it and being brewing on it and like, wait, but I didn't do anything. Did I do anything? That it hit me. I was just like, fuck, I could have handled that situation better. Fuck the walk of shame. What about the call of shame? Where I have to pick up the phone now and call her and say, hey, I fucked up. I really did fuck up, and this and that. And because of that, we didn't spend Thanksgiving together. And it was on the night of, I believe it was on the night of Thanksgiving. I was up on the phone with her. She apparently didn't really spend Thanksgiving with anyone. And so she kind of like, her mom cooked, or they were going to do Thanksgiving on Sunday. Her mother was like, y'all two, I don't know what y'all doing, but y'all can't see each other right now. Like, y'all need time apart. Y'all need to figure out yourselves, work on yourselves, and then maybe, you guys can come back together and stuff like that. Of course, without her blessing, I'm not going to go around her back, to be with her daughter. Like, that's kind of wild. So I was like, all right, I'll respect the boundaries. You know what I'm saying? It's not my house. We're not married. Even if we were married, shit, I would totally understand if she packed her, if we had our own crib and we were married, I would totally understand if in those moments she packs her shit and goes to her mom's house. It makes sense. Like, that's what made me understand why women go visit their mothers. Like the whole, the classic television thing, right? Or movie thing. I'm gonna go stay at my mom's for a few. And the guy's all like, what do you mean? What? It's like, no, dude, you're being a dickhead. And it was that Thanksgiving that we were supposed to spend together. At like 12, it was like 11 o'clock, I think we got on the phone or something, or close to midnight, I don't know. We spoke up until 4 a.m. And about 30 minutes into that conversation, because I was like, we need to talk about this. Like, we need to figure this out. We need to this, we need to that. And we were talking. And it was in that moment I recognized that I had to start going to AA. I recognized that I had a problem. I recognized. Prior to that, I was just identifying. I was pointing it and labeling it, saying like, oh, look, I have a problem. That's cool. Let's keep going. Maybe we can fix it ourselves. And it never worked. It never worked. If you're wondering how that went, it didn't. I ended up going to AA. And it was that night on the phone talking, and I was like literally in tears as I was talking to her, because I was just recognizing how fucking crazy I am. I was recognizing how fucking wild I was, how much of a piece of shit I was. I think I've spoken before about beating yourself up and all that, and yeah, it's not the best thing to do. There is that rigorous honesty. And I think even before you get into the program, I think you witness that rigorous honesty and you say, oh fuck, yeah, no, I got a problem. And you're honest with yourself. And then you go and you start moving towards rectifying that situation, towards changing who you are. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with changing who you are. If you don't ever want to change, that's all on you, bro. But 100%, you could be better. You could always be better. I remember lyrics I have that says, things can be better. Things could always be better, but that requires some effort. I said that once in a song I wrote damn near a decade ago. I said that. And like, it comes back to me now because it's just like, how have I always known and somehow didn't know? I'm sorry isn't worth the breath you're wasting on it. You need to back it up. You need to back it up by changing that behavior, by changing who you are, so that you're not doing the same old stupid shit that you've always been doing. And trust me, for me, holding my tongue, I'm very early in practicing it, but dude, has it saved me a lot of headaches? Because even in certain times where I think like, I'm just gonna be funny real quick and poke a little fun, and this literally happened like last night. We're on the phone and she's showing me something or she's saying something, and I was about to say something along the lines, it was supposed to be funny, but it was gonna be a slight poke, and I was like, that's awesome. That's it. I shut my fucking mouth because it was gonna be a stupid joke that didn't have to be said, right? It was gonna be a poke at one of her flaws that, it wasn't the right moment to poke at that. She has other things right now that she's really worried about and she has to take care of, and this is not the time to be distracting her with my bullshit or my insensitivities. And it was after I was like, I found myself starting to say it. I was like, pump the brakes, don't say shit at all. Just smile and wave, boys, smile and wave. And I was like, whew. After that moment, I was like, holy shit. Like, almost like, right, that happens, and then I recognized it was happening, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing. And look, it's not some honest truth that she has to hear in that moment. I'm already getting to points where I'm comfortable addressing her about certain behaviors that I think are not valuable or not going to help her grow or advance in life, and whatever the case is, right? I'm already starting to practice those. But that whole like not saying that silly stupid shit, oh man, that was the first one last night. That was great. I felt great. Cause I know that today when I go pick her up, things would be totally fucking dumb. Totally weird, totally awkward. I'd be trying to like, oh, hey, what's up? Give me a kiss. You know, I hate that shit. I hate that shit so much. Give me a fucking proper kiss, goddammit. Don't play with my emotions. Oh, but you could fuck with me, right? So I can't be offended when you're being offensive. And that's crazy because that phrase right there never occurred to me while I was drinking. I wasn't allowing her to be offended when I was being offensive. I wasn't even allowing her to be defensive. It's like I always wanted to tell her about herself and her sit there and be like, wow, thank you so much. I appreciate your honesty. You know what? I'm gonna go work on that right now. What the fuck? I'm telling you, bro, it's insanity. If you're drinking and you're having these problems and your only remedy is to say, I'm sorry, you are insane. You are doing the same shit over and over and over again, and you're expecting something to change. It's not gonna change. It's not gonna change until you change. And that's something I've recognized within myself. It's hard. But nothing that's worth its weight is ever easy. You ever have a class you got an A in because you just kind of showed up? You did like 1 or 2 assignments, you don't even remember it, kind of just like blew right past you. And you're like, yeah, I got an A in that, but I was gonna get an A in that. But then you got that B or that C in that other class. I was like, no, dude, this one I had to fucking fight for. I had to fight for that one. No, I'm proud of that C. I'm proud of that B. Fuck, sometimes you could even be proud of that A. Whoa, dude, why? What's the difference between that A and that A? Well, that A, I didn't have to do shit for. That shit was given to me. But that other one I had to work for. You appreciate things when you work for it. That's why kids don't understand the value of $1. They don't. I want new toy. Give me new toy. Give me iPad. Put on YouTube. I'm hungry. But as adults, jobs, income, with bills, with responsibilities, it's like sometimes we go hungry, right? Sometimes we go hungry because the fucking dollar doesn't stretch that far. You know, sometimes that bill's just not getting paid this month. Sometimes you're like me and you're sitting in thousands of dollars of debt, just fucking floating in that fucking water because you're not going anywhere right now. And it is what it is. It is what it is. And that sucks. And that's a shitty phrase, but it's very true. I like it is what it is more than I like I'm sorry. Because you know what I can't do with the debt collectors? You know what I can't do with the banks or with the credit card companies or all these other people? I can't say, I'm sorry I haven't paid you back. I'm sorry. We good? That's just not gonna work. I have to change, right? I have to pay those fuckers off. There's no in between there. There is none. It's you do or you don't. I'm sorry doesn't mean anything. Changing your actions, changing how you act, changing how you think. And when I say how you think, I'm not talking about changing who you are fundamentally at a psychological level or anything like that, right? I'm talking about, is that really a part of who you are? Do you really have to be that person who says that thing or does that thing? Do you have to? Do you have to lie? Do you have to cheat? Do you have to steal? Do you have to disrespect the people you love? Do you have to be an asshole? Do you have to yell at people? Do you have to do all those things that makes other people look at you with disdain? Those things that makes other people offended by you? Those things that makes other people defensive with you? Do you have to be that person, or can you find a way to not be so much of an asshole? Can you find a way to do that? Is that possible? Look, I don't know if you can answer this, but I'll answer it. Yeah, it is fucking possible, because I'm fucking doing it. And I know it's kind of cheesy to say if I can do it, anyone can do it, but I live in my fucking head all day. I justify what I do a million ways to the moon and back. But now I'm starting to recognize that, and it's not second guessing. Don't get it twisted. It's not second guessing. It's recognizing my faults, recognizing my flaws. And you know what's amazing about recognizing your flaws? It's being able to work on them. You know what's amazing about that? As much as you love yourself, or probably don't love yourself, recognizing those little flaws helps you patch up those little holes in your soul, in your spirit, in your heart, and wherever the fuck it metaphorically exists for you. And before you know it, I'm doing pretty fucking good. You love yourself. Before you know it, you think highly or think higher of yourself than what you used to. Before you know it, you're a better person. You're still gonna be you, dude. You're still gonna be you. Nothing's gonna change that. But you'll be a better version. I've seen it work for me. And I'm not done. I'm not even close to done. I don't think I'll ever be done growing. Cause dude, if I'm this fucking awesome right now, dude, I can't wait for a couple of years, bro. Like, that's gonna be amazing. Like, I can't wait to be just like a fucking shining example of whatever the fuck I am. I'm excited. That's the shit that keeps me going. And dude, there's a lot of times where like, I'll be talking to my girl or I'll be talking to one of my boys and I'll just say some shit and I'll stop for a second. I was like, damn, I think God just spoke through me or some shit. Cause how the fuck did that just come out of my mouth? Did that come out of my mouth? Holy shit, dude. Dude, we need to quote that shit. Can we put that on a t-shirt? You ever have one of those moments? Yeah, I'm getting a lot more of them now than I used to. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a fucking fire quote moment when I've been drunk. Probably have though, right? Cause I'm the shit. But I don't think I've ever had it, I'm talking shit, but yeah. You get what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry ain't worth shit. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with others. And work on being better. That's all I got for you guys today. Before we close out with the Serenity Prayer, I want to add, if this brings you any value, if you find it helpful, or if you find it meaningful in any way, please support. You know what to do, the buttons and all that shit, right? It helps. It really does. So if you join me, this is a Serenity Prayer. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you guys. You have a great time. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again next week. Safe.